Hi guys, it's Jake here from Team Sneak Attack. I'm showing a deck here that I took to Portsmouth League Cup. It's the first League Cup of the season, or at least in the UK, and I actually ended up winning the whole thing. I won't go into too much detail about the day itself. 6 rounds of Swiss and a top 8. I went 4 wins, 2 ties, and then won all the top 8 matches, obviously. So yeah, it's rather good. I wasn't sure, I wasn't sold on it, but I sort of built it. Well, really, my friend Charlie built it, and Tamal helped a fair bit, and obviously the rest of the team, Sneak Attack, helped a lot as well. So I'm on to 3 baby Yveltal in this list. The reason being, basically, you'd think. So actually, maybe I should talk about what what the deck's general strategy is. Now, you've got Tapu Koko, so I'll start with this guy. He's got Flying Flip. You do 20 spread, you do 20 to everything for just double colourless. Fairly neat, fairly straightforward, and it helps you be able to use the Yveltal BREAK, so hopefully you all turn your head sideways, because half of you probably have not seen this card forever. So the attack of this Yveltal BREAK is Baleful Knight. You do 120 and you do 30 spread if anything has damage counters. So you can see basically why you want to Flying Flip if you can. Now the deck, I think, has been made stronger. I'm still not sure if it's Worlds viable, but stronger because of this Stadium card. Now I am jumping around a bit, but you will see why. This Stadium card, between turns you put damage counter on GX and EX Pokemon. Obviously I run none of those. I mean, at most you'd run one Tapu Lele, but I run none of those. The idea is anything that's Zoroark heavy, it either stops them evolving to Zoroarks or puts the 10 damage down, which means you can deal more damage overall with Yveltal BREAK. And as I was saying, 3 baby Yveltal, basically because you want to evolve to the BREAK. You will often use Oblivion Wing actually as well, just powering up some other attackers. This whole deck kind of works in like a nice neat little package, and I can go through some of the other cards and other techs as well. There's Spiritomb. I would still probably regard this as a tech, but it's no, sorry, it is just a staple or a similar effect to this. So I'm using this for the damage play attack. Basically only allows you to move damage counters from your opponent's benched Pokemon to any others, so you can't move them from the active, but you can move them to the active. Now this is worse obviously than the Tapu Leles that have come out, one being the promo and one being the fairy one in the set. So you think, well, why would I play this over them? And it's simply just because it uses the same energy cost as the Yveltal. So it's the fact it uses Dark. You can also power this up with counter energy, but yeah, the fact it's in, this one's in here over the others because it uses Dark. So you can probably see the general strategy quite clearly from that. You spread damage, spread more damage, spread more damage, and sometimes you want to be knocking out loads of things at once. A few other tech Pokemon here, which I'll briefly go through. That's basically the main body, the main strategy of the deck. We also play Hooper. Again, we can play this simply just because it's a dark cost, dark double colourless. It prevents all effects of attacks including damage done by GXs and EXs. So again, a bit of an EX-GX hate theme here. The Hooper really shuts down, let's say, decks like Rayquaza, Zoroark, Lycanroc. They have a really hard time getting around this because, well, they don't play many non-EXs or non-GXs, and then the 1 or 2 they do, if I can knock them out by other means, then that's not enough. Now I actually tied against a Rayquaza solely because there were a lot of Guzmas played first of all, and there was an Oranguru in her deck as well. So actually, of course, I will also play Oranguru, partly, minorly really, because actually it one hits an Oranguru back, but mostly because I get to use Instruct. This plays no Tapu Lele, no other really sort of on-board draw, no draw Pokemon, just the Oranguru for draw, which often is enough, but if you don't get him out, it can be a bit of an uphill struggle. Aside from that, I've got the Latios here. The Latios using Breakthrough mostly, so Breakthrough hits nice numbers, hits 60 on Baby Buzzwole and Big Buzzwole, and spreads 230s as opposed to spread all round 20 like Tapu Koko does. The reason that's useful is solely because it's got higher, well, not higher HP, but higher HP if you're against a fighting type. It's different weakness. You also want to spread damage in specific ways sometimes. You also get the chance, it doesn't happen very often, but you get the chance to use Lagoon Flight, given that you play Counter Energy as well. But yeah, one other thing, of course, and a big thing, is that this actually, with a choice band, can do 120 for a double colourless to a Buzzwole GX. And finally, the other tech card, which again, I'd say a card like this may be a staple, is Mewtwo. Now, there's two choices for this slot. This one's the Mewtwo from Evolutions. It's got Psychic Attack, it's got 130 HP, and it's got 2 Retreat. It's also got an Attack Barrier, which isn't impossible to use, but I can safely say I have not used it ever. So, the other option is Deoxys. Now, I'll quickly show that, actually. So, now let's try and find this Deoxys. So here is the alternative option. As you see, it's got 120 HP, 1 retreat cost, same weakness, same psychic attack, but it's also got this Power Blast, which again with Counter Energy is possible to get into play. The the thing you might be asking now is why did I use Mewtwo over this? This looks like it's got a lot more behind it, given that it's only 1 retreat. It's got this other attack which could easily be useful in my deck as opposed to Mewtwo's barrier, and the reason is just simply the 10 HP. The 10 HP can come into effect, it can matter against things like Buzzwole. If Buzzwole hits you, say, first for 50, they basically would often like to attach, say, a strong from there and hit for 70, being 120, which would knock out a Deoxys. You sort of prevent that by, they kind of need Beast Energy to knock it out, or they just need to 3-hit this. That happened quite a few times actually, where Mewtwo had to be 3-hit by Buzzwole, and in that meantime deals a lot of damage as well. It's I'd argue that's a marginal choice, but I think the Mewtwo is slightly better. So that's the Pokemon line. The main things in terms of what's going on with the trainers, well, talked about Shrine of Punishment. That's one of the biggest things. You draw that, put it down against EX or GX heavy decks, which most decks are, except for, say, Buzzwole in this format, and they all take a tick of damage, so you can then go into the Baleful Night without too much issue, spread more damage, and take some knockouts. Now, a few other things, I'll just run through basically all the counts. So, for Sycamore, you need to draw cards. Sorry, I'm never too sure as to how to comment on the exact supporter counts. Really, I'm playing, for Sycamore, 3N, 3 Cynthia, and 3 Guzma as the supporters. This deck has no onboard draw, so it can't really get away with, say, 8 supporters like some other decks, 8 draw supporters like some other decks have. It definitely can't get away with 6 or 5 like I've seen a few decks have. It also doesn't play Project, because, I mean, there isn't 3 specific Pokemon you'll just definitely need turn 1. Well, not even turn 1, because actually you have no nice out to Project turn 1, because you don't want to play Tapu Lele, so it plays Nestball instead. But yeah, essentially you need about 10 draw supporters to keep going with this. The 3 Guzmas mostly for space. If I could fit a 4th I would, but it's also not, you don't always need to grab something up to take some cool knockouts. You can often just take a knockout in the active and be fine. 3 Guzma's quite nice. While talking about the deck list, obviously I can talk about the strategy. Now, a big thing this deck actually is the fact that you can choose, more or less, not exactly, when to take prizes. So let's say I have something, an opponent's Pokemon active, that if I knock it out, they go down. I go down to 4 prizes, and then they get to do Sledgehammer with Baby Buzzwole. Well, I might not want to kill that active, and I might want to grab something else up. So you still need a relatively high Guzma count, but yeah, dragging something else up and maybe hitting that to then knock both out, you can actually kind of avoid the beastering turns, should I say. I'll get a bit more into that in a bit. In terms of Pokemon search, simply 3 Ultra Ball, 3 Nest Ball. Now, Nest Ball's just really good. You don't have to discard anything for it. Obviously, sometimes you want to discard Dark, but you just get to straight play it. You get down one of these guys. There's 7 different types of basic Pokemon in this deck, so yeah, you kind of need that as steam to get them in play. The 3 Ultra Ball, Yveltal BREAK cannot be got with Nest Ball, obviously. Ultra Ball gets that, and obviously it can get any others, as well as discarding Dark. So 3-3 I felt was probably the best count. If I could, probably be 4-3 for Nest Ball. I also play 1 Rescue Stretcher and 1 Super Rod, just general recovery. You'll want a Stretcher, either shuffling 3, because you get a lot of single Pokemon and they die quickly, or just grabbing the 1 back, sometimes in Yveltal BREAK. You've also got Super Rod sometimes to hit some NG back in. Now, another thing is that actually this deck plays 4 Max Elixir, so it plays 9 Dark Energy. It allows you to power up, well, Baby Yveltal in order to then power up the Yveltal BREAK. I have actually used Darkness Blade a fair few times, to be honest, but yeah, it allows you to power up Super Psybolt quicker, and just generally every colourless attack. So it takes 1 of the costs here, 1 of the costs there if you hit, 1 of the costs here, and yeah, you get the idea. It's a very, very strong card. I was toying with the idea of 3, but I think you just want to, just any acceleration you can get with a deck like this, you really want. In terms of tools, I'm playing 3 Choice Band, because obviously this hates on EXs and GXs a fair bit, so why not hate even more? Choice Band helps with you know, some of the numbers if you need to hit certain things. So Latios hits 120 on Buzzwole. Mewtwo can actually Buzzwole GX, of course. Mewtwo can actually knock out a 3 energy one, which sometimes they'll have to go to clear an Yveltal BREAK. So 3 just seems like the most kind of obvious pick. You also get 110 damage attacks with Hooper, which is 2-hit KO on Zoroark, for example. Even little 60s with Oblivion Wing, just to keep that damage going. You want damage, basically. It's hard to put it in another light. I've seen people play Fury Belts, actually. So obviously not with the Yveltal BREAK, because that doesn't, you know, trigger on that. But Fury Belts mean Hooper survives a lot more, and quite a few of the other Pokemon do as well. I'm more a fan of Choice Band. I like the extra damage. 2 Floatstone, just simple as you've got 2 Retreaters. You're going to need to retreat them sometimes. It's pretty solid as well, because one quite nice thing about that is actually how often they don't get field blowered. So they get field blowered sometimes, but playing 3 Shrine and 3 Band as well, the number of times a field blower goes for the Shrine and a Band, or they have to pick between a Shrine and a Float, is a lot, should I say. Now, in terms of the energy, I play 9 Dark. You want to maximise Elixir hits. Actually started this list with 10, I think. 3 double colourless. Now, again, and it's a bit annoying as I really, really would love 4. You want Flying Flip quickly, basically. Breakthrough is also very nice as a Psychic, even using double colourless on Hooper's Super Psybolt. It doesn't, however, benefit the Yveltal BREAK's attack at all, which is pretty much why, it's not the only reason, but it's pretty much why there's 3 of those and then 2 counter energy. So counter energy when behind, well, first of all, it can act like a double colourless, but second of all, it can actually act, it's actually acting as a double rainbow. And what that really helps with is having 1 Dark on an Yveltal. If it's in break form, there's sort of no expectation from your opponent that it uses Baleful Knight the next turn. Obviously with Counter Energy you can. Counter Energy also, kind of funny, I think I mentioned it, allows you to use Lagoon Flight when behind. Electric Ball, which actually I did use Portsmouth to knock out a Zoroark. Not Zoroark, Lycanroc, whatever, same thing. And you can use Barrier as well. Obviously the Deoxys attack would be better, and I never use Barrier. And I don't think I actually use Lagoon Flight, but I had it ready, powered up to go. So that's actually the list in its entirety. Quickly run through what I played against in its totality. That was Zygarde, what was it? Octillery, Lycanroc. So kind of like Buzzwole, but Zygarde GX instead. And won game 1 and game 2 of that. Went up against then Rayquaza. That was a win game 1, and then game 2 on turn 3 of time. My opponent had Gizmo and Engie to take the game, and had actually prized 4 Max Elixir. I think it was 4 anyway. At least 3, but I remember seeing 4. So yeah, that, and also I think with damage play I was like 10 or 20 short of finishing the game the turn before. It's a bit frustrating, but that caused the tie. And the Rayquaza actually, of course, played a Rangaroo, so it was able to one-hit a Hooper if needed. And she played the Guzmas intelligently, and held Power Pad for those specifically. At least, yeah, Power Pad just for the Guzmas actually. Then game 3 was just was Buzzrock. And I think I won game 1 and 2 without too much worry. Then next round again was Buzzrock, and I had the same. Oh no, yeah, I had the same thing. Then so that would have been what, 3-0-1, I guess. Then against Zoroark, I drew dead 1 game and tied. So I lost game 1, won game 2. Then game 3 didn't finish in time. One thing I really will say about this deck is it just does not finish games quickly. I can go into more of the strategy in a little bit, but final round for the sort of winning into top 8 was Zoroark, and I won both. And then top 8 itself was Buzzrock from round 4, I think, and again won 2-0. And then played against a Rayquaza, again 1-2-0, and then in the final was Buzzrock, and again 1-2-0. So really the matchups I can talk about from those are Buzzrock, Zoroark, and Ray. Now against Ray, you have quite a nice time, unless it's the Ray Garb deck, because Hooper just walls them and they have to power up their Oranguru. So if you have your Oranguru sort of with 2 energy, let's say, so it can't be one hit by their Oranguru ready to go, then well, it wouldn't matter anyway because they'd kill it with Ray. But yeah, you're able to knock out their Oranguru and then continue with the Hooper train. Hooper walls it so much. There's very little they can do against it. If they ever fill their bench, you can they'll need to hit like Guzma after Guzma to even take prizes, and then you can start limiting what you even keep down. So yeah, it's what I'd say is basically that matchup is not letting your opponent take 6 prizes. That's the, you've got to find a way around that. And in fact, on the Ray side, you've got to hope that they put down enough things that you're able to access and target enough of to be able to take 6 prizes. It's really frustrating matchup for the Ray player, because they just play so many GXs and generally 1 non-GX. If they only, or 2, sorry, I should say, if they only play the Latias, it's pretty much, unless they get 4 Dreamy Mists, I think you win. And if they play the Oranguru, they have a chance. Like my round 2 opponent was able to actually steal that game. It's really, what I'd say is general thing about this deck is it's really hard to play against, especially if you don't know what you're doing. Well, not know what you're doing if you don't know what it is itself. So after a few games of testing against this myself in the past, I've been able to beat it with decks that shouldn't win, possibly, and that's solely just because after a bit I figured what I have to do precisely to win. And that's why I'd say after a few games it's not very good a deck. It's unfortunate for me to say it that way, but yeah, if people, the reason it's hard is people don't know what to do against it, even after 2 games sometimes. But after 10 or so, I think people can figure it out reasonably well, especially, say, for Worlds level players, probably can. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, against Ray stands... Yeah, Ray Garbodor is fine against this, I think, probably actually positive, depends on Garb. As you can notice, not playing Field Blower, but you have things against Garb anyway, but you pretty much have to sort of hit a Baleful Knight or hit a Coco Spread into a Super Psybolt for a knockout on a Garb and hope that they don't have another one ready to go. Yeah, it's not so great. Garb, this deck suffers to Garb quite a lot, but I wasn't actually expecting too much, so I just thought I'd take this. No, matchup Zoro Rock. You hurt them a lot with Shrine, so you hurt them in 2 ways. First of all, they don't want to evolve quite often, solely because they get the tick of damage, and then Baleful Knight can then add 30 more to the board than it should, basically, which is quite scary for them. A lot of them are playing Acerola and Max Potion, say, but being able to heal off all the damage every turn is quite hard unless you're a very sort of pure Zoroark version. The Zoro Rock lists are not so much geared towards that. Lycanroc itself is quite scary, but Hooper again walls it. It does help though, because they can Guzma around Hooper or Lycanroc around it. The Baby Buzzwole puts a serious dent in this deck if they play that, but one of the main things of this deck really is choosing essentially when to take prizes. So if you suspect a Baby Buzzwole in their deck, in the Zoroark deck, you essentially try to spread enough damage maybe to take 3 prizes in one go, or to take, say, 1 prize and then 2 prizes. Stop that Sledgehammer turn if you think it's relevant. If they do evolve, obviously you get the damage on the Zoroarks, so you sort of put them in a catch-22 if the Shrines are out. Against Buzzrock, which is pretty much the only other deck I played, I wouldn't have thought this was as good a matchup as it ended up being. You have resistance against their fighting types. Yveltal makes it extremely hard for them to actually just one hit them ever, really. Obviously they can with the 3NG Buzzwole GX, but then you have Mewtwo as a response, so yeah, it's not a pretty matchup for them. If you have to kind of go for a Coco Spread at some point, even though the Coco will probably be knocked out immediately, and that's simply just so that your Baleful Knights start doing damage. In that matchup, I think in one of the games that I had, where I think I played, I think it's 4 Buzzrocks, so I think 8 games in total. Only in one of those games was there ever a situation where it was okay, I think, for me to go down to 4 prizes, and that I had to go down to 4 prizes. So not too bad at all. A couple of times I went down to 3, which meant they could Beaster Ring, but it was also a scenario where I was able to seal up the game next turn. The Spiritom's one of the main keys for that matchup, I believe, because once you've spread that damage a bit, you can control what knockouts you take. A few times I was able to N, then damage play to knock out an Octillery with, say, Buzzwole at 1 prize, and actually take the game. Even, I think there was one game actually I took from 6 prizes to 1. So yeah, it's good at controlling essentially what you do and more or less what your opponent does. So, and you have the psychic attackers basically for Buzzrock as well. Now those are the matchups I faced. This deck does suffer a bit to Zoro Garb and Zoro Control, and the reason for that is Gob just shuts down the Hooper ability and your draw, so Zoroark can at least 2-hit everything. You play a lot of items, as in without fear, you play a lot of items, and Garb then can start taking 1-hit knockouts. They play enough Acerola and Max Potion as well, so it's all kind of a package. The Zoro control deck, which is a bit more well, able to just get the cards it wants every turn, you have quite a tough matchup with, because they will just 2-hit every Yveltal, and they will Max Potion their own Zoroarks, and they can do that quite often if you attack into those, and you pretty much have to, or at least want to, 1-hit each Orangaroo that comes down, as in the same one repeatedly, if they go for that line, because they will very often start removing your energy, and even though you've got Oblivion Wing, only dealing 30 to put back 1 NG, which is just going to be removed with some cards shuffled back in, and some things healed. You also don't win the Stadium War, because you're only playing 3 Shrine of Punishment. I've seen teammate will play Lusamine or consider it. I've considered 4. I had 4 for a while, but the space is just too tight. So yeah, I don't mind the Lusamine, but you'll still lose the Stadium War to a deck like Zoroark Control, because you're just, you know, not going to be able to beat that resource management loop. Even if you play 2 Lusamine, it's just not going to happen. But yeah, so that's my analysis of this deck. I played it rather luckily to a win. I'm not really selling this deck too well, but I think it's a good deck, but I don't think it's a good Worlds play. I think if you're only expecting Buzzrock, then sure, I think it's good. But I think good Buzzrock players after a few games actually figure this out, and since it's been doing well, more and more people will be testing against it. I found it really fun, to be honest, to play it. The one thing as well is that it's exhausting. Every single round goes to time, and you get some ties out of that as well. You don't actually want to be playing this day 1 at the very least if you can help it, because you'll tie, and ties are pretty much as bad as losses unless you have 3, but it could actually tie 3 times as well. You also have some scary games where an opponent takes a knockout and then a knockout and then a knockout, and you're sort of scrambling to recover in order to try and, you know, shut them down and take the game. One great thing as well is if you're choosing to not take prizes quickly, your ends are just much stronger for you in terms of their draw and for the disruption of your opponent. The other thing I'll say is this deck has a tendency to draw awfully, so often you can keep going just because you have an energy, and that's enough to at least place some damage, maybe even have a shrine to place more damage. But yeah, this is not a deck, like, if you're used to doing trade into every single card you want, then I'd not suggest playing this. I had a lot of fun with it, and very, unknown to me. I didn't think it would be able to take a tournament. It's only 41 odd people, but I didn't think it would do that. So yeah, quite pleased with the performance of it, and a big thanks actually to Portsmouth Pokemon League and Jamie Barr for hosting the event, and the prizes were rather good. A full box plus more. So yeah, make your way down there when you can, if you're from the UK watching this, and also to Sneak Attack, which I shall be attending, and that's obviously our sponsor Sammy Sakoom. So yeah, do that. Yeah, so thanks here from Jake, and I'll say from all of us at Team Sneak Attack, and I'm really hoping there isn't an outro that says that for me. So thanks very much. Bye.
Hello guys, it's Will from Team Sneak Attack here. Thank you for watching this video. Please remember to like and subscribe and hit that bell icon so you know when we upload our next video. Remember to leave a comment in the comment section down below, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye!